Hello and welcome to Ageless Rock. Today we are going to check out a very interesting tomb which we now dedicated to three prophets. But first, you have to put on your megalithic lens to see things from a different perspective. Kidron Valley has enough creepy megalithic chambers to make you wonder who was here first. Although there are 88 prophets in the Hebrew Bible, only 3 are linked to this catacomb. This cave system is believed to be a funerary rock-cut cave because there is no other function we can think of. It is on this Mount of Olives that Jews believe the prophets Haggai, Zechariah, and Malachi were buried. The cave tomb system is on the western side of Mount of Olives. Towards the west slope of Mount of Olives, there is also another monument which is believed to be Zechariah's tomb. That goes to show that there is no definite conclusion as to where was Zechariah buried. You can check out my video on Zechariah's tomb. From this old map dated 1858, you can see that Mount of Olives doesn't have a lot of graves. I'm sure if you can travel back in time, this place was pretty empty, and it feels like in the past when Jesus walked among men, there isn't a lot of human activities here on a daily basis. In 1882, Antonin Kapustin and Archimandrite bought this land to build a Russian Orthodox church. That did not happen due to a protest from the Jewish community. It was later agreed that there would be no symbols of any religion at this site. This site has a rusty and boring signage that doesn't reflect the status of a biblical prophet. A different signage shows only 2 prophets. Zechariah was dropped out of the list. If it is truly proven beyond reasonable doubt, 2 or 3 prophets were actually here, I think the signage deserves a better quality, appearance, and presentation. Immediately below the sign is the stairs that leads down to the catacomb. According to Jewish tradition, this cave is about 2,500 years old, but carbon dating shows it is about 2,100 years old. So the biblical record seems to differ from scientific record by about 400 years. This cave system is not a small project. In my opinion, if it was ever chiseled out by Jews approximately 2,500 years ago, it would be such a great achievement we wouldn't be guessing what happened here. This is not a funeral parlor where a memorial service is meant to take place. Memorial service can be held above the ground. The large amount of bedrock carved for 38 burials is illogical to me. Hacking bedrock for 38 important people must first come with a history where there are such persons. This cave system is not fully excavated and the niches doesn't seem to have any dead bodies so far. It is not a human instinct to have important people buried in niches hewn out of bedrock so that people cannot find it. The amount of bedrock removed and the time spent could have made 100 tombs above ground just like any recent or medieval mausoleum. The large amount of bedrock carved for 38 burial niches seems like an overkill when you only need 3 for the prophets. Since there are 88 prophets in the Bible, 38 won't be enough anyway. So obviously, it was not meant for prophets. If it was carved one niche for one prophet at a time, the entire Jewish community will know about this, and no one needs to guess what happened here. The niches for Haggai and Malachi are in the southernmost chamber, while Zechariah is 4 tombs away towards the east. If you believe this is the Old Testament Zechariah the prophet, then you have to believe that the monolith with the pyramid top belongs to Zechariah of the New Testament, who is the father of John the Baptist. This niche has an inscription in Hebrew that reads Zechariah. If you only want a niche as a tomb, then you won't need a hall like as if you can have a secret underground meeting. All funeral services can be done above ground level. To make it even more confusing, there are random niches and holes that won't fit the narrative of a tomb. To add to the confusion, there are 38 burial chambers recorded, but the sign says there are about 50 tombs. Since there are about 50 tombs and 3 prophets, it is also believed that 47 were therefore said to be their disciples. I do find it a loose connection because 3 great prophets sharing with 47 unknown disciples that no one knew existed doesn't add up the logic. This is an oversized chamber upon entering the catacomb. The reason there are about 50 tombs instead of a definite 50 tombs is because there are niches that doesn't fit the idea of placing a dead body. These random niches and holes doesn't make any sense, just like all the megalithic caves around the world. I am very sure this is not a cave for tombs because there is a hole on the top. The reason for this seems to be for ventilation to keep the catacomb nice and cool and light to see without torchlight. I wonder if this is a good idea if you allow rain and sun into the cave full of dead bodies. If there is a resemblance of something I have seen before, that would be the Bell Caves of Maresha and Bet Guvrin, which is about 1 hour drive from the Tomb of the Prophets. They are mysterious and no one knows what happened here, despite the fact that they are extremely hard to do. For now, Bell Cave niches are for pigeons, but if niches are big enough for humans, it is a tomb. It sounds like these are just human interpretations based on feelings. It feels like pigeons would like to lay eggs here, so it is for pigeons. It feels like you can bury a dead here, so it is a tomb. But to carve bedrock for eggs and dead people is a million times more difficult than wooden boxes above ground. I don't think Jewish brains work like that. The niches are very small and is said to go further in about 2 meters deep. It was chiseled further down into the bedrock about 1 meter below where the dead wrapped in cloth were laid. Then stones or slabs were laid before covering it up with soil. I don't think it has ever been excavated and I don't think there are skeletons to be found. These small holes go further down and it reminds me of the Serapeum of Saqqara in Egypt. They are extremely narrow for humans to work around. They have many chambers in one cave system, and there was never any dead body found. I think these similarities should be enough to wonder if someone else was here first. Here is a simple diagram of the niches both in Israel and Egypt. There is a main hallway that leads to holes on the side. If it is small, we call them tombs. If it is big, we call them chambers. It is below the level of the hallway, which is ridiculous because it is now more difficult to put something inside. Since there is a mysterious random rectangular hole, just like all megalithic sites around the world, I am convinced that someone else was here first. Let's take a look at this photo. I am not sure of the exact location of this photo, but it is definitely walking distance from the Tomb of the Prophets. Every day, people walk past this area without noticing an obvious tool mark that was left behind by the unknown megalithic culture. There is a row of rectangular holes on the wall to prove my point. You can check out more on this from my video on Mysterious Gear Track. Well, that's all for today. I hope you enjoyed this presentation on Tombs of the Prophets and have a wonderful day. This is Bernie Ong signing out. Lehi Traot.